So I'm going to be starting a new relationship with CNC router parts, and I'm going to be getting a new CNC machine from them. So this machine that I've built and and made and know every inch of, is gonna need to move out and make room for the new machine. So I've learned a ton of stuff building this machine, and that's kind of was its purpose, and it's worked great, and I've done a lot of fun stuff with it. But it's time for the new. So to come clean on the deal is CNC router parts will give me a new CNC machine, and then I will use that in future videos. So it'll be a win-win for both of us. So this video will be about taking apart and moving the old machine. Also, part of the deal was that they would buy my old machine from me, which made things a lot easier, as they could deliver the new machine and pick up the old machine at the same time, which made things a lot easier for me. I didn't have to coordinate selling the old machine and getting it out of the shop and then finding a time for the new machine to show up. And I really wanted to have the new machine, at least in boxes and in the shop, before I started dismantling the old machine, or at least getting the old machine out of the shop. So I started on my own by taking the table off of the old machine. So I started taking the table off, and then I figured out that I needed to take the end off, as that was the last thing to go on. So I undid all of the screws on the piano hinge and started to dismantle that. Then I could take the table apart, and I took all the screws out. And I had made it so that the table could be replaced, so it all came apart pretty easily. It was all just screwed into place. There was no glue or nails or anything like that. And the tabletop was getting pretty cut up. It was really time for the table to get replaced anyways. And I did one last move with the machine. I figured that would be sort of a nice way to end my time with this machine, to move it around one last time. And I removed the sub table. I guess the very last thing I cut on this was the plexiglass for the radial arm saw. So then Nathan and Corey from CNC Router Parts showed up to get the old machine and deliver the new machine. So we started to take apart the rest of the old machine. And we brought in all the boxes of the new machine. And we took the Z-axis off. We decided it would be okay to roll the gantry off and carry that out as one piece, but it would be a good idea to take the Z-axis off, as it kind of sticks out and could get damaged in the move. And it was fairly easy to take it off. It was just a few bolts.
And that should be okay, just like that.
And then the gantry can just roll right off the end, and we just took that out as one piece. And it sat outside for a while in the firewood pile. It looks sort of sad. Then we took off the long rails, and we took those off as single pieces. That seemed to make the most sense, so that they can just be put right back onto the steel frame. And really all of this was to get down to where we could move the frame out of the shop. This was the big move. And they didn't quite believe me that it would fit under the ceiling of the shop, but it does. It just fits under the ceiling.
Yeah, it just fits, but yeah.
So we tipped it up and slid it around the corner, and then we tipped it back down again and carried it out of the shop. And it all went very smoothly. This part was a little scary because you didn't know whether it was going to fall and crush you or come down and not really be all that heavy. And it came down, and it's not really all that heavy, and it was just fine. Now my friend Jonah, when I was building this machine, he encouraged me to do a steel frame and not do a wood frame. I wanted to just make a wood base for it. But he said at some point I would be moving this out of the shop and it would be much easier as a light steel frame than some big heavy wood thing. And I didn't know that was going to come true within a year and a half of making it. But it made it really easy to just bring out as a light steel frame. Now they had brought a trailer, and the plan had been to bring the trailer down to the house, but as you can see it was pretty snowy, and they didn't want to bring the trailer down my street as it's got a little bit of grade to it. So we loaded everything in the truck, then everything got transferred into the trailer away from the house. But it actually all fit in the truck just fine, and really they could have gotten away without the trailer.
It's unfortunately true there.
Then we stood around and talked for a while in the big empty space. And then it was time to say goodbye, and it rolled out the driveway and disappeared. But this should lead to bigger and better things. So the next video we'll be putting together the new machine. Thanks for watching.